The Late Colonel's Daughter by Katherine Mansfield. Josephine, or Jug as some called her, and Con were the daughters of the Colonel. The day he had passed, things were hectic. Con wanted to give her father's hat to the porter, although he did not seem like he stuck out much in the story as being a very important character. I think that Con may have had an unspoken love interest, but there is nothing else mentioned to clarify this assumption. Nurse Andrews. The last day that the Colonel was alive, Josephine and Con wanted to speak to their father. He may have had something he wanted to tell them when no one else was around. Nurse Andrews seemed very fond of him and made sure not to leave the room very often to keep a check on him. This is quite selfish to me, considering it seemed to be pretty apparent that he would pass soon, and his daughters would obviously want some time with him. It is possible Nurse Andrews could have had romantic feelings toward the Colonel. The mouse. The mouse didn't seem like a huge importance in the story, but it still stuck out. Con seemed to want to help the mouse, and even give it some breadcrumbs. She was worried it wouldn't have anything to eat. This shows the more empathetic side of Con. Josephine was dismissive and did not care about the rat at all. That doesn't make her a bad person, but it shows how different people react in hectic times, and in general. I feel Con, being on the more sensitive side, was trying to find something to be sentimental about. The burial. Josephine was very upset on the thought of burying their father. She insisted that he would not be happy about it at all. Con was confused by this because he had to be buried. This part of the story did seem a bit confusing. What were the alternatives to burying him? She did not mention what else she would want done with him, so the conclusion could be she just simply felt guilty for laying him to rest. Their father seems to be on the overbearing side at times. This could explain why she was upset about burying him without his approval. She could have been concerned that he may come back to haunt her for it in a way. The room. They went into their father's room to sort through his belongings. They become frightened and the vibe of the room seems off, which this is expected. Con preferred to wait to explore the room, which is as expected since she does seem to let things bother her more than Josephine does at least. Josephine insisted on doing it now, and then some creepy things started happening. The blinds go up on their own, and then they fear he may be in the drawers. The interpretation on if his spirit was in the room was unclear, but it is safe to assume they just wanted to put it off to not deal with the fact that their father is gone. They could have also been worried he was coming back to haunt them in a way for burying him and the expenses that came along with that. The watch. They plan to let go of their father's watch to their brother Benny. Where he lives is on the warmer side, and they worry that the watch may get damaged. This is a funny way to look at things, considering it would make sense for their brother to inherit it. It seems they either are hanging on to his belongings due to an emotional attachment, or they are worried their father would be upset if something were to happen to the watch. Cyril. Josephine feels the watch might be better going with Cyril, the Colonel's grandson. When Cyril comes to visit, he almost says something that seems like he might speak ill of the Colonel. Josephine cuts him off and pretty much changes the subject. Josephine seems to still be worried about what will happen if her father knows someone is talking about him, as if she is still scared of him. This is odd considering he has passed away, but it may be a sign of some type of trauma she has from him. Kate. Kate is their maid, and her main part in the story seems to be quite hostile. She asks how the sisters would want their fish cooked, and although the sisters did have a few remarks, it is still concerning why she was so stern. It seems the sisters may be a bit intimidated by Kate in a way. even though she is their maid. They even consider letting her go since she basically doesn't bow down to them. They even try to set her up. This is part of the story that sheds light on how the sisters may be on a high horse themselves. The organ. When the organ starts playing, they get frightened that it might bother their father, even though he had been gone a week. They are still very on edge about making sure their father doesn't get upset. It can make the audience wonder what all happened to make them so afraid of him. It seems he may have abused them in some way, whether it was physical or emotional. Something had to have happened for them to still be suffering from it. The cane. They briefly mention how their father had a cane, and he would beat it on the floor at times when he became angry. This points towards how authoritarian he was. A big part of why they react very childish is probably because they were used to him controlling everything. Overview. Overall, it seems their father was cruel to them in many ways. They do mention that their mother passed away, so how he treated them could have been related to that. It also seems their house may have been unstable, which could also be related to their mother's passing. They will have to live and recover from how they were treated from now on. However, towards the end of the story, it does seem like they become happier and are changing for the better. Thank you. And that's my reference slide.